Yes, good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be with you again. Of course, the main topic of our conversations today is the Black Sea Grain Initiative and Russia's withdrawal from it. It is an irresponsible move, putting global food security at the risk. Russia is also doing it while increasing its own exports to global markets. We have held a number of conversations here, including with the Secretary General, on how to proceed further, because the functioning of corridors, sea and land corridors, for the export of Ukrainian cereals to the global market must continue. Russia put mostly nations in Asia and Africa at risk of facing increasing food prices and hunger. This must stop. And now, we all have a headache. We have to solve yet another problem created by Russia. And I emphasized to the Secretary General, and I'm also making this emphasis in all other conversations, that if we have the political will, we will find the way out. So in the next hours and days, there will be very intensive consultations at all levels to find a solution to this immense problem that Russia has created for the world.
Foreign Minister, it's Pamela Falk from CBS News. The letter of termination from Russia to the JCC in Istanbul said that there would now be no protection for vessels. What do you see as happening next?
Well, it's a clear threat formulated in a legally neutral way, but what is meant under it is that Russia does not guarantee the safety of any ship that may try to carry Ukrainian cereals from Ukrainian ports to the Bosphorus and the other way around. We will conduct consultations with International Maritime Organization. But all in all, we have to understand one simple thing. As long as Russia will be in Crimea, as long as Russia will believe that it can blackmail and impose its will on anyone, these problems will continue. We will solve this one. In a month or two, they will come up with another one. So the best way to solve the problem is actually to defeat Russia and to make them withdraw.
Foreign Minister, President Erdogan of Turkey has said there could be more negotiations. As one of the signatories to the deal, do you now believe the deal, as you signed it almost a year ago, is dead? And if I could also ask you, the attack on the Kerch Bridge, civilian infrastructure, was that a legitimate target?
What makes you believe that Kerch Bridge is a civilian infrastructure? Given that it is mainly used to supply Russian army in the occupied Crimea and in the south of Ukraine with ammunition, fuel, and other military equipment necessary for the Russian army to continue its war of aggression against Ukraine. Not every bridge is civilian by definition, and this particular bridge, first, it was built illegally. It exists beyond the law, and we should always remember that. And second, it is mainly used for military purposes, and we should consider it as such. When it comes to the Black Sea Grain Initiative, of course, you have to remember that last year there were 2 memorandums signed. We never negotiated with Russia on that. So one memorandum between Ukraine, Turkey, and the United Nations, and another one between United Nations, Turkey, and Russia. So there is a debate in the rooms in this building whether the Russian move is a suspension or termination of the agreement. And Russia itself is, avoiding clarity, because in one text they speak about termination, then in another comment they speak about suspension. But there are two schools of thought now. I can conclude that from the conversation I have had. Some are far less optimistic, and others are slightly more optimistic about the prospects of this deal. And it's really too early to say how it will evolve. But if Turkey wants to have another round of conversations with Russia about the commitment of Russia to the deal it signed with Turkey, we are fine with that.
Mr. Foreign Minister.
Mr. Foreign Minister, I have a question about the Iranian drones used by Russia in Ukraine. Last week during NATO summit, members released a statement asking Iran to stop supporting Russia. Also, Security Council held a meeting on the same matter. Do you think besides issuing a statement, what else the NATO members and the UN can do to stop Iran from sending drones to be used against Ukraine? And also about the investigation to be done by the Secretary General. Do you have any information on that, or did you mention that in your meeting with the Secretary General?
We hope the United Nations will step up efforts in investigating the role of Iran in providing Russia with weapons of destruction and murder. Ukrainians suffer from drone attacks almost on a daily basis, and it's a big problem for us. But most importantly, we think it's also a big problem for the international community as a whole. If Iran continues to be in a position to provide Russia or any other country with such powerful weapon. We are working with our NATO allies and on reinforcing our air defense system to be able to shoot down everything that attacks us from the sky, be it drones or missiles. It comes at a price. Because while we are bringing new air defense systems into the country, some drones and missiles hit their targets, kill civilians, and destroy our infrastructure. But if no one can stop Iran from sending drones, then we have to spare no effort in bringing in more air defense systems. I have to run to the Security Council meeting.
You just said that Ukraine considers the bridge a military target. Are you confirming that Ukraine actually carried out this attack on the bridge?
I was not asked the question of attribution of the attack. I was asked to characterize the breach itself, and that's what I did. I'm traveling now. I have no access to to classified information while I'm in New York. And everything I know about the breach is what I learned from the headlines. Sorry.